Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to repurpose these loo rolls into nice pockets for your junk journals. Just flattening them down there and then we'll get going. What I'm using is loads of bits and pieces I've got left over from junk journals that I've done, and let's just see what we make. I've got no plans for these at all. That's just a little tag that I did that I'm going to stick in one of them. So no plans, let's just see where we go. Pick up a piece of paper and it doesn't fit. So let's find one that does fit and then we'll glue that on. I keep burnishing those sides because they do have a tendency to pop up. So just give them a really good crisp edging with your bone folder. Plenty of glue on there. I think I went a bit mad. And just give it a good push down. Tuck the edges over, snip off the top, tuck each edge over just to make a nice finish at the ends. Or should I say at the side. And then after that, we just glue one end at the bottom, just a little bit of glue there, and basically that's your pocket, and all you need to do now is decorate it in whichever way you wish. I'm just adding a couple of little pegs there to hold it down because it does need that little bit of extra, can't think of the word, just needs a little bit of extra to keep it together. Choosing some papers now out of a little vintage type paper book that I've got. I'm liking those colours because they're going with the background, and then I'll just rip them, edge them with a little bit of ink, Tim Holtz Distress ink. That just gives them that little bit of extra, vintagey look. So this is going to be a man's or a male type tag really. Grungy colours, and I do like my grunge, to be honest with you, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. So I'll glue those on there. As I say, I've got no plans at all for these. I'm just going with whatever's on my desk, which I try to do now and then, but I'm more of a planner really. Just putting a little half circle in the top. I think that always finishes it off when you're putting a tag in. Deciding which way that goes, obviously with the writing the right way up. Little bit more ink around the sides of the whole of the pocket. And then what am I going to do? I've decided I'm going to put some Tim Holtz dolls on it. So the only way you can look through these is to drag most of them out. Not sure what I'm looking for, but one pops out there, and he sits really nicely on that piece of paper, and there's a little dog there as well. Quite like that. I like to ink around the edge of these. One, I think it makes them stand out a little bit, and two, it gets rid of the white around the edge. So not easy in the fiddly bits, but we get there eventually. So that's my tag. This is a cardboard tag, and it's got the ridges in, and I really like using these ridges just to make a little bit of interest, add more layers onto things. And also a tip as well is those edges make perfect lines to write on. So I do use them quite often, dependent on the size really of the ridges. And this is just a little round stamp just to add a little bit more interest. So I'm gluing my little boy on, sitting there quite happily, and then gluing his little dog on. Well, I think it's quite a big dog actually, but it gives you the idea of what we do. So there's your pocket done. All we need now is a little tag to go in it, which is coming up right now. Cutting a little bit of string off, put it through the tag. String is another great thing to use instead of ribbon. You know, it really keeps that grungy look going. So there's the tag. You can write on the tag, stick that into one of your junk journals, and there you go. So this next one, again, you know, exactly the same. Seal the bottom of your tag. Decide what paper you're going to put round it to tidy it all up. I've just said tag and I meant toilet roll. And this one, you'll see me faffing about a little bit here because I wasn't quite sure what paper I wanted to use, but we'll get there eventually. So there I am, just to the side, getting all the papers. Again, these are leftovers from a journal that I made last week, which I will do a flip through at some point for you. I was going to use the stripes and then thought, no, I like spots. I do have quite a liking for spots. So you'll see the style of this one is really quite different from the first one. And the whole idea of doing this is, you know, to show you that you can make different styles depending on what your preference is and depending on the sort of journal that you're doing. So there we go. Sticking it all together. And there you've got the beginnings of yet another pocket. So I'm just getting some more ink now, trying to decide what I want. And I picked up this lovely Distress Oxide purpley colour, but when I held it against it, I really wasn't happy with it. I wanted to try and keep the colours as near to each other as they were. So I took out a, I think is a chip sapphire, something or other sapphire anyway. Another Distress ink from Tim Holtz. I do love using these Distress inks. They are really, really versatile. Making backgrounds out of the oxides is just great. You get a different background every time. So there I am with a matching piece of paper, just trying to decide where I want it. Decision ended up down the middle. Give that a little edge. These edgings with ink, they just make them stand out really from the paper. I don't edge them when I'm doing matting and layering, if I put say a piece of navy card at the back, but when I'm not putting any card at the back and it's just being used as a mat, I do like to ink around the edges to make it stand out. So here I've got a stencil. I'm just adding a few layers with the stencil. I think this is an All in Create stencil. The only thing is I take the packaging off and then I can never remember exactly where they're from, but I do think this is an All in Create one. One of my favourite suppliers, I have to say. So just adding a little bit of interest onto the front. Some die cut flowers that came out of the kit that these papers were in. It was actually a 12 by 12 kit that was a whole journaling kit, so it had a lot of sayings in it and a lot of ephemera to be able to sit on the journal and make sure that it all matched. So with these, I'm just raising them a little bit with a pad, a raised sticky pad. And then I find another little flower and think, oh, stick that one in as well. Doing these these ad hoc things, you know, with leftovers is just a great way of using your leftovers. And sometimes you don't feel like doing a whole project. You want to do something really quickly, and these are great. These are some lace butterflies that I've had lying around for ages. I think I got them in Hobbycraft, if I remember rightly. So I just pop that on. So there you go. There's another one. So coming up are some photographs of the others that I made. Didn't want to bore you with the, you know, with the whole process, but you can see there that you can make different ones, different styles, even funny ones like that. So thanks for watching.